Betrayed by my parents, I turned their doubt into my strength. Their shocking reaction left them speechless. I had always dreamed of being an artist. My name is ZINNIA, and since I was a little girl, I would spend hours doodling in my sketchbook. My room was filled with paintings, drawings, and everything I created. But one afternoon, everything changed. I overheard my parents talking, and what they said shattered my heart. "ZINNIA is wasting her time with that art nonsense," my mom said, her voice dripping with disdain. "She'll never make it as an artist. It's just a silly hobby." My dad chimed in, "We need to be realistic. She should focus on a real career." I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. Betrayal washed over me, and suddenly my childhood dreams felt foolish. That night, the family dinner felt heavier than usual. I had gathered my courage to share my plans for an upcoming art show. "I'm really excited about it, and I hope you'll come," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. But my parents exchanged glances, and then they laughed. "An art show? Really, ZINNIA? That sounds like a waste of time," my mom scoffed. My heart sank as I tried to defend my passion. "But I've been working so hard," I pleaded. The laughter continued, and I felt smaller with every word. I watched as they dismissed my dreams, and I couldn't shake off the feeling of being utterly alone. Their laughter echoed in my mind, making me question everything I believed about myself. The following week was difficult. I sat in my room, staring at my sketches, feeling like my dreams were slipping away. Then, in a moment of vulnerability, I approached my mom again. "I really need your support for this show. It means everything to me," I said softly. She looked at me, unimpressed, and said, "ZINNIA, it's time to grow up. You need to focus on a career that pays the bills." Her words felt like daggers. "You should consider a more practical path," she added dismissively. That was the last straw. I felt crushed, as if my heart had been ripped out. I realized I couldn't stay in a place where my dreams were belittled. I made a decision then and there. I would leave home and pursue my art, no matter what it took. I packed my belongings and found a small studio apartment in the city. With my last savings, I set up an art space and began creating again. The first few days were tough, filled with uncertainty and homesickness. But gradually, I found solace in my work. Each stroke of the brush felt like a step toward freedom. I poured my heart into my paintings, letting my emotions flow onto the canvas. I remembered my childhood dreams of becoming a renowned artist and the sacrifices I had made for my family. I was determined to prove them wrong. As I painted, I felt a flicker of hope ignite within me. This was my chance to reclaim my dreams, and I was ready to fight for them. One evening, I stumbled upon a local art community gathering. I hesitated at first, but decided to step inside. It was vibrant and filled with artists who shared my passion. They welcomed me with open arms, and I felt a sense of belonging I hadn't experienced in a long time. As I mingled, I listened to their stories of struggle and triumph. They inspired me to showcase my work and reignited my passion for art. I felt a renewed sense of determination. I wasn't alone anymore. I had found my tribe. Together, we exchanged ideas, techniques, and even laughter. I began to believe in myself again, realizing that my dreams were worth pursuing. I was ready to take the leap and show the world my art. After weeks of preparation, I organized my first gallery showing. I had poured every ounce of my energy into the pieces I created, and I was excited to finally share them. I sent out invitations, including one to my parents, hoping they would finally appreciate my talent. On the night of the showcase, my heart raced with anticipation. I stood nervously beside my artwork, watching the guests arrive. But when I saw my parents walk in, my excitement turned to dread. They exchanged skeptical glances, clearly unimpressed. "Look at this," my dad said loudly, pointing at one of my paintings. "Is this supposed to be art?" I felt my cheeks flush with embarrassment, but I held my ground. I wanted to show them that I was serious about my dreams, but their laughter stung like 1,000 bees. To my surprise, my artwork began attracting attention from local critics and art lovers. People admired my pieces, and I felt a spark of hope ignite within me. My confidence grew as I saw others appreciating my work, despite my parents' skepticism. As the night progressed, I overheard people praising my talent. "This is incredible. I can feel the emotion in every piece," one guest said. My heart swelled with pride. Maybe I could really make it as an artist after all. But my parents remained unimpressed. They rolled their eyes and whispered among themselves, completely oblivious to the positive feedback surrounding us. I felt a mix of joy and frustration, determined to prove them wrong. After the showcase, I received an unexpected email from a prominent art dealer, Aurora, who had seen my work at the gallery. She expressed interest in representing me and offered to help promote my art. I couldn't believe it. This was the opportunity I had been waiting for. With Aurora's guidance, I was invited to participate in a large art fair. I felt a mix of excitement and anxiety as I prepared my best pieces for the event. I knew this could change everything for me. When I told my parents about the art fair, they scoffed. "Another waste of time," my mom said, but I refused to let their negativity dim my excitement. I was determined to succeed, and their doubts only fueled my determination. As the day of the art fair approached, I poured my heart into my preparations. I worked late into the night, ensuring that everything was perfect. I was tired but focused, and I could feel the energy building inside me. When the day finally arrived, I set up my booth and waited for the crowds to arrive. My parents decided to attend, still doubting my success. Their skepticism pushed me to work even harder, and I was determined to impress them. As the fair opened, people began to flock to my booth. I watched in awe as they admired my art, asking questions and expressing genuine interest. I felt a rush of validation and excitement. Maybe this was it, my moment to shine. The art fair became a roaring success. I received multiple offers for my artwork, and the praise I received was overwhelming. I could hardly believe it. My hard work was finally paying off. In the midst of the excitement, I caught a glimpse of my parents across the room. Their expressions shifted from skepticism to surprise as they saw people lining up to purchase my pieces. For the first time, I felt a flicker of hope that they might finally understand the depth of my dedication. But just as I was basking in my success, my parents approached me with a new tactic. "We're concerned about you," my dad said, his voice dripping with false sincerity. "You're getting too caught up in this art thing." Their attempt to undermine my success only fueled my determination to prove them wrong. Despite their attempts to sabotage my momentum, I found strength in vulnerability. I confronted my parents about their negativity, expressing how their doubt had pushed me to succeed against all odds. "I'm not going to let your skepticism define me anymore," I said, my voice steady. "I'm doing this for myself, not for you." Their faces froze, and I could see the realization dawning on them. Instead of crumbling under their doubt, I felt empowered. I had transformed their skepticism into fuel for my fire. I wasn't just an artist, I was a force to be reckoned with. Around this time, I met Aurora, the prominent art dealer who had been following my journey. She saw potential in me and offered to help promote my work. This was a turning point for me, and I felt a rush of excitement. With her guidance, I was invited to participate in a prestigious art fair. This opportunity could elevate my career to new heights. I worked tirelessly, creating my best pieces yet and pouring my heart into each stroke. But as the fair approached, my parents heard about it and decided to attend. Their skepticism still lingered, and I could feel the weight of their expectations. I was determined to prove them wrong once again. The day of the fair arrived, and I was filled with a mix of excitement and anxiety. As I set up my booth, I could feel the energy in the air. This was my chance to shine, and I was ready to show the world my art. When the fair opened, I watched as people flocked to my booth. I felt a surge of confidence as they admired my work and expressed genuine interest. It was exhilarating, and I thrived on the validation. But when I spotted my parents, their expressions remained skeptical. I could see them whispering to each other, clearly still doubting my success. Their negativity didn't faze me. Instead, it fueled my determination to prove them wrong. As the fair progressed, my artwork gained attention from art critics and collectors. I received offers for several pieces, and the validation I felt was overwhelming. I couldn't believe my dreams were finally coming true. But just as my success was taking off, my parents attempted to sabotage my momentum. They spread rumors about my capabilities, trying to undermine my achievements. Their actions only strengthened my resolve to succeed. I confronted them again, expressing how their negativity only pushed me to work harder. I felt empowered and determined to rise above their doubts. I wasn't just an artist, I was a force to be reckoned with. With Aurora's guidance, I prepared for my personal exhibition. I wanted to showcase my journey and the transformation I had undergone. I poured my heart into preparing for this moment, wanting to share my story through my art. As the exhibition approached, I created pieces that reflected my struggles and triumphs. I wove my experiences into every brushstroke, hoping to connect with my audience on a deeper level. When the day finally arrived, I stood nervously beside my artwork, waiting for the guests to arrive. I hoped my parents would see the depth of my passion and dedication. I wanted them to understand the journey I had taken to get to this point. As the exhibition opened, I watched as people admired my art and connected with my story. I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment wash over me. This was my moment to shine, and I was ready to embrace it. When my parents arrived, they looked around, still skeptical. But as they observed the positive reactions from the guests, I could see their expressions shifting. They began to realize the depth of my dedication and the talent I had developed. During the exhibition, I addressed my family directly, sharing my journey and how their doubt had motivated me to succeed. I wanted them to understand how their skepticism had fueled my fire. As I shared my story through my art pieces, I could see the impact it was having on my parents. Their expressions softened, and I sensed a flicker of understanding in their eyes. "I've worked so hard to get here," I said, my voice steady. "Your doubt pushed me to prove you wrong, and I want you to know how much I've grown." The atmosphere in the room shifted as my parents began to comprehend the depth of my journey. They were no longer dismissive. They were beginning to see the artist I had become. During the exhibition, my parents finally confronted their past behavior. They expressed their regret for doubting me and acknowledged my talent. "We're so sorry for not supporting you sooner," my mom said, her voice filled with emotion. I felt a mix of relief and confusion. Their change of heart was unexpected, and it left me feeling torn. I had fought so hard to prove myself, and now they were finally recognizing my efforts. But as I looked into their eyes, I realized that forgiveness was possible. We had all grown, and our relationship could be rebuilt. I invited them to collaborate on a community project, merging my vision with their support. As we worked together on the community project, I saw how our relationship was transforming. We bonded over our shared goals, and it felt like we were finally understanding each other. The project flourished, showcasing how art could heal family rifts. I felt a growing sense of pride as we created something meaningful together. Through our collaboration, my parents began to appreciate my passion for art and the impact it could have on our community. They supported my vision in ways I had never imagined. With our project underway, I launched a new series of artwork inspired by my journey. I focused on themes of resilience and empowerment, drawing from my experiences of overcoming doubt and betrayal. As I created, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. My art became a reflection of my growth, and I was ready to share it with the world. The response was overwhelming. People connected with my message, and I felt a surge of validation. This was what I had always wanted, to inspire others through my art. As my career skyrocketed, I decided to create a special art piece thanking my parents for their unexpected support. I wanted to show them how much their acknowledgement meant to me. During a family gathering, I unveiled the artwork, a vibrant mural depicting a tree of growth and resilience. It symbolized my struggles and triumphs, and I hoped it would resonate with my family. Tears filled my mother's eyes as she reflected on how our relationship had transformed. My father, once dismissive, shared a heartfelt speech, acknowledging how they had underestimated my potential. Surrounded by family and friends, I felt a wave of satisfaction wash over me. The evening culminated in laughter, joy, and pride as attendees admired my work and the progress I had made. I realized that this victory was not just about my success as an artist, but also about the rekindled love and respect within my family. We had come full circle, and I felt a sense of closure. As the night ended, I stood amongst my art, feeling empowered and free. I had proven to myself and everyone around me that doubts could be transformed into strength. With a renewed sense of purpose and a strong connection to my family, I looked toward the future, ready to explore new artistic avenues. I felt excited about the opportunities that lay ahead, and I was determined to embrace every one of them. My journey had taught me the importance of resilience and the power of relationships. I was ready to inspire others and share my story, proving that anyone could overcome doubt. As I closed this chapter of my life, I felt a sense of hope and empowerment. I knew that I could face any challenge that came my way, armed with the support of those who once doubted me. In the months that followed, I continued to create and share my art. I organized workshops for aspiring artists, hoping to pass on the lessons I had learned. My story became a source of inspiration for others, and I felt fulfilled in my mission. Through my journey, I discovered that art had the power to heal, not only individuals but also families. I watched as others found their voices and pursued their dreams, just as I had done. I understood that my success was not just about personal achievement, but about building a community where everyone could thrive. My heart swelled with pride as I saw the impact we were making together. As I stood in my studio surrounded by my artwork, I reflected on how far I had come. I had transformed betrayal into strength, and I was grateful for the journey. My parents and I had rebuilt our relationship, and I felt a deep sense of love and support. We had learned to appreciate each other in ways we never had before. With a renewed sense of hope, I looked toward the future, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. I was not just an artist. I was a force of resilience, and I was excited to continue sharing my story with the world.